What's up, guys? So I just heard about the passing of Shawn Rhoden. I thought about making a video on this topic when George Peterson died about a month ago. The situation's getting really bad, and I wanted to look at this in a sort of practical and pragmatic way and sort of examine the situation that the IFBB is in. And the main issue that I see is that it's a problem of physique inflation. Sort of like economic inflation. Every year, the physiques get bigger. There's demand from the judges, from the fans, just from the organizations as a whole, to develop standout physiques, and that means bigger and leaner physiques. However, just from a physiological perspective, bigger and leaner requires you to do things that are not particularly healthy. Human beings are naturally competitive. We want to be the best at whatever we do. However, being the best bodybuilder is not a particularly healthy endeavor. And generally speaking, it catches up to you eventually. And for some people, that is sadly sooner rather than later. And so what makes a great physique from the perspective of an IFBB judge? As big as possible and as lean as possible. And if you have the symmetry and the proportions and the flow, that's good as well. But the trouble is, those last few things are mostly genetic. You can't really change those. And so, if you're not genetically gifted in those regards, you get as big as possible and as lean as possible. Some people win shows just based on those two things. Big, full, ripped, jacked, shredded, grainy, paper-thin skin, vascular, all of these things require inherent risk. And someone I follow on Instagram posted something after George Peterson's death. The sad state of bodybuilding. Unpopular opinion. Someone is literally going to have to die on stage before something changes in bodybuilding. And I think he's right. You have people dying just before the show, just after the show, in their hotel room the week leading up to a show. And then after their career is finished, often it's 40 years old, 50 years old, 30 years old. Dallas McCarver was 26 years old. And I think he's right. I think it's going to take a big name dying on stage for a big change to happen. And that's sad, but that's probably pretty realistic. And one possible solution that's been tossed out there is drug testing, which I know sounds ridiculous, but it's actually been done before. In the 1990 Mr. Olympia, there was a drug-tested show. And they all came in looking quite small, not full at all, because they had to cycle off all their compounds. And guess what? The fans were not happy. The fans were extremely disappointed. And the next year, no testing. And here are some comments on this video. If they start serious testing, watch a new bodybuilding federation explode on the scene. Absolutely. You have these guys who are already taking tons of drugs. If they're suddenly not allowed to do that, they'll just go somewhere else. I don't think there should be drug testing in the open class. That's why the fans are there, to see the bearded ladies. The freakishness of the open class is why the sport is even around. Next comment, what a joke. Drug testing will end pro bodybuilding. As long as you don't get caught, we'll tell you in advance so you know when to get off. Why do you need to drug test when even the judges know everyone is on it? Even the highest of the highest people in the bodybuilding world know everyone is on it. Doesn't make sense. They will quickly change their minds about drug testing when the fans stop showing up to the competitions. And so a lot of this is the demand from the fans. It's partly on the fans. It's partly on the coaches. They're pushing insane protocols so they can have these top athletes to get more clients. It's sad, but it happens all the time. I've seen some of the most ridiculous cycles out there because these guys just want to get their star athlete big to get more clients or the prestige or whatever. Then you have the judging criteria. Again, as big as possible, as lean as possible. That's it. Then someone comes in a little bit watery for their show, and another guy tells them to put the fork down. Maybe it's not that they were holding fat, it's that they were holding water because they're a human being, which are 70% water, and they didn't want to die in their hotel room later. You ever think about that? Now, they have tested for diuretics in the past. I think Jay Cutler got popped, but then he threatened to sue them, and so they're like, oh, well, no, diuretics are fine. And so at every aspect of this chain, from fans to judges to the IFBB itself, to the athletes to the coaches, everyone involved, no one really wants testing. Plus, testing is expensive. The total prize money at the Mr. Olympia was $1.6 million. Messi or Ronaldo, they make that in a week. Okay, every 9 or 10 days, that's their salary. Not even endorsements, everything else. So there is almost no money in professional bodybuilding. And you think they're going to find the money for testing? I don't see it happening. And I don't have a good solution, okay? This is not a Jeff solves everything kind of video. This is a I don't know what to do in this situation kind of video. The IFBB is freakishly big, freakishly lean. And that invariably leads to a freakish number of deaths. And maybe they can change the judging criteria so that it's not just whoever has the most veins in their glutes wins, or whoever has the most muscle mass, to where it's more the lines, the aesthetics. I think classic physique is a good step in the right direction, but still they're prioritizing open. That has by far the most prestige and prize money. So I don't know. It seems like the past half a century or so has just been all the physiques getting bigger, and it's suddenly catching up. And Joe Lindner left a comment, I think it was on the More Plates, More Dates video. The IFBB need to step in and do something. They need to start spending money on the health of their athletes. Look at other sports. I agree, but what exactly? Drug testing is not going to work. Blood tests, like getting them to eat their vegetables, at a certain point, again, big and shredded equals a lot of people are going to die. There's just no way around it. So anyway, let me know if you have some solution or some kind of fix to this problem that I couldn't see, because I personally just don't see any real way around this, and I just don't see it getting better. I only really see it getting worse, and I don't even see what they can do in their situation. So, I don't know. Peace.